Hello, everyone. So this is what we're doing today. This is going to be a diorama going in the window of a shop in New York called Local Hoops. They want something that's going to really catch their eye. They're like a basketball brand. They do cool stuff. And so we settled upon this. They want the basketball court itself to be removable because one of the things that they do is they have artists design courts. So anyway, they just want to be able to pull this out and replace it with a different one, which adds a little bit of an extra challenge. So we'll get to that. But basic overview, I mean, I'm thinking this is going to be, I'll probably build a box for this, a plywood box to support the main structure and to have the removable court on. And then we'll layer up blue foam, similar to what I did with the jet engine for the Dear Edward show. We'll knife carve it to make all this rockscape, paint it, scenic it, make up some trees and stuff, figure all that out and apply it all in detail. And that'll be super fun. I've just scaled this. This thing is tiny. The little basketball nets are going to be a very interesting challenge. They're tiny. The rim itself is like a quarter of an inch in diameter, so it's really small. Even if it kills me, I gotta make these nets out of thread. You know, I really want them to be not like little printed things or anything. The court top itself is going to be painted. I have an option which would make life easier of like, a high resolution print and putting it in there. But I don't know, it's gotta look right. And so I don't think a high resolution print is gonna cut it for me, but we'll see when we get there. So yeah, that's what we got so far. Let's get started. So if it's not obvious here, I actually drilled little holes for these wire pieces to go into. I'm not just gluing them to the surface. So unfortunately, I forgot to film a lot of the tree making process, which was fun. It was a lot of experimenting. Used a bunch of different sizes of static grass and different methods of applying it. I ended up just covering it with glue and applying different materials to them in different orders to get the right look. What I do have are these one-offs, these sort of testers that I did, the first pancakes of the trees, so to speak. Like this one here on the left was just too chunky for the scale. It just looked too, too bulbous. And this one I tried a longer static grass. It just was much too long. It ended up looking too hairy. So to make the actual basketball nets, I'm just using regular sewing thread, which is so thin and so flexible. I just needed to give it a little more body to help it hold shape and to make it a little easier to work with. So here I'm just I'm just rubbing it in white glue just to give it a little more stiffness. Once assembled, the white of the printed frame was just a little too bright, so I'm just adding a little bit of weathering to it. So there is a little update to these, which I'm excited about. Local Hoops once, and I think it's a great idea to put stadium lights in this, so I agreed to do that. We're going to add 2 or 3, maybe 4, we'll see, miniature stadium lights that work, and I'll build those from scratch to scale. So on the window front, they can have these on, and it'll light up the court, and it'll look really cool. We made similar ones, but much bigger for that Super Bowl commercial where we built a basketball court. But those were huge. Those were like 6 feet tall or 5 feet tall. So these are going to be like 18 inches. So to make these lenses, I printed the rims and poured 5-minute epoxy into them. And the texture on there was just an accident. I used a silicone cooking mat, and it had this slight woven texture on it, which ended up giving it this nice looking detail that I hadn't anticipated. In order to pop out the removable basketball court, you really needed access to the inside of the box to do it from the inside. In order to do that, I decided to cut off the mountaintop um, and put magnets on it so it could realign and be reattached. This way, with that access hole there, you could just reach in and pop this court out, as well as we could have access without getting underneath the whole unit. We could have access to any wiring inside. So though I did try to avoid it, in the end I caved and ended up masking and airbrushing the court surface on here. It just looks so much better than a printed surface.